Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Laureli Shimayo, and this is MeWe Fairs for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest, many online. Tonight is our online awakening panel, and our theme tonight is being with the wild energies of these times. There are 6 of us that are on the panel tonight. We'll be introducing ourselves and talking a bit about the theme and then answering your questions. It's free to be here to listen and learn, and it's a small price to ask a question of the panel. I put that information in the chat. It's $20 to $28 or $12 for BIPOC folks as a step of making reparations. So I know we've got one person in line already. We're happy to take questions from several people tonight. They're definitely wild, crazy times, and we're excited to be able to be with you to help us all navigate this. Let's see, we have some newer practitioners on the panel. It's great to be able to expand the community and include new people all the time. And there are people in the audience I know I don't recognize too. So this is great to keep expanding the community. Let's see, so I think I don't need to share anything before we start doing introductions. We can just dive into that. And then I will share a few things before we start taking questions. Let's see, so we'll probably go in the same order that we did earlier. So just somewhere around like 2-minute or so introductions now, and we'll have some time to talk about the theme. And oh yeah, so tonight's a panel. So we were going to be doing an online fair, and we switched it to be a panel. So maybe say a little bit more. So in the panel, we stay in this main room the entire time. So the 6 of us are up here on the panel, and if people want to ask questions, there is that small fee. And then if you want to, we'll bring you up here on screen with us. If you want, you can ask anonymously. You can just let me know in chat that you have a question. And after you've paid, you can either come on just by voice and not be on by video. You can write me your question and I can read it out loud, and it's completely anonymous. We are recording, and this will get posted up online on our YouTube channel. So there's the number of ways you can engage tonight. You can also just watch from the audience. So all kinds of different ways to play. And when you ask a question, chances are everyone on the panel will have something they can share. So you'll get multiple perspectives from the panel when you ask a question. So in exchange of asking it in public, for a low price, we give you questions or answers from several of us. That's sort of the exchange that we're doing for those of you that are new. All right, well, let's see. Let's jump into our introductions. We're going to start off with DoveLight, and then Angela, and then Matt, and then Jenny, and then Drea. So DoveLight, and I will, I'll time just so you have an idea. And then I don't have my regular things here at my desk, so maybe I will just start twirling around my phone in some way on my, so you know when it's time to, pull to close. All right, DoveLight.
Hello, everybody. My honor and blessings to see you. It's been a while, Very good, very good. DoveLight from DoveLightOracle.com. You can also find me on Instagram as DoveLightOracle. And I am very passionate about doing readings. I was born in Peru, in actual Peru, with ancestors of the Amazonian and the Indians. I love many shamanic techniques that I also offer. I love working with energy because it's another way to connect to the divine. I love doing sound and healing. I'm just a regular person. I'm generally out. Sometimes I have my good days, my bad days. I get sick. Sometimes I feel healthier than ever. My shadows and my light, but I also have a connection to the divine, as every single one of us has. And through that connection, you can feel the strength and the force to continue moving forward, regardless any wild happenings or challenges that life brings us. I'm very passionate as well as past life regression. And that is what it is. I'm just DoveLight Oracle from DoveLightOracle.com, and I'm very grateful to be here. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, DoveLight. All right, Angela.
Hello, everyone. I'm Angela. I'm a Peruvian shamanic practitioner and a Reiki master teacher. I'm here to try my best to answer whatever questions that I can regarding all the crazy times we're all going through, and how some shamanic techniques and energy work can help us find balance and even thrive through all the chaos. So I look forward to talking with you tonight.
Thanks so much, Angela. Oh, and DoveLight, there's a gratitude event I think that you have on Sunday. I don't think I have the link from it yet, so the link for it yet. So if you have that, give me that. I'll make sure to post that for everybody. I'm not sure I understand what your special is. Anyway, if you look in the chat and take a look, there might be more information you can give me.
Yeah, I actually switched it for for next week, Thursday. So that's what I didn't mention it, but I put it in the chat anyway.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, give it to me. All right, thank you. DoveLight and Angela. All right, and Matt is next.
Hey, so I'm Matt. I am the Newcastle Oracle. You can find me on Facebook. Just created a page. I have just kind of transitioned into the metaphysical world. Long story, been seeing my whole life. I wrote a book called The Seer. You can buy it on Amazon. I've come from kind of the religious background and have not been able to find communities like I've found with the metaphysical community, where the light language and the things that I know and have been experiencing, where I could just be straightforward and truthful about the experience I've been having my whole life. However, I have been traveling internationally for the last 10 years, um, speaking in different religious communities, Catholic, Christian, you name it, doing live readings in front of, hundreds or more. And kind of the main thing is teaching, doing live readings, and then praying for people at the end, where I've seen from like broken hands getting healed, doctor verified, blind eyes opening, ears opening, like you name it, like some of the most wild stuff that you can imagine. Sometimes it's instant, sometimes it's 5 to 10 minutes. Um, and I have an upcoming course called The Fifth Dimension, Living Outside of Space and Time. And just being able to take all of the things that I've been experiencing my whole life and being able to explain them, because for most of us on this panel, like, it's just natural to be like this. And then many of you that are even listening, having these gifts and abilities, and sometimes not even understanding how they work. The thing that I love is being able to explain these from a scientific perspective of how does this stuff actually work? Because I think for a lot of people, once they get the knowledge, the understanding, and the wisdom, that it does unlock something for them and really just gives them confidence to just be, um, just to be who they are. And so tonight, if you sign up for one of my classes, as you can see in the chat, there's a large discount. It starts September 18th. You can either email me at newcastleoracle@gmail.com, or you can just go like my Facebook page, send me a DM. But it's impossible, I think, for all of us to describe who we are and what we do, because it's this weird thing where we have to say some kind of title so that people understand what we do. And all of us can relate to this. So it's like sometimes when people go, "What do you do?" Well, like, I can do everything, but that doesn't mean I do everything. I try to keep it to the things that really seem to work: energy work, um, actual like physical healing, and then intuitive reading. And yes, I believe you can see the past. I believe you can see the present, and I also believe that you can see the future, even though many times the future is unwritten, or there's many different timelines and people believe different things. And I'm okay with that. I'm a big believer in believe whatever you believe, but let the results speak for themselves. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Wrote a book called The Seer, Unlocking the Ability Within. You can find that on Amazon. Let me pop that up really quick again. And there you go. That's on Amazon. And it's written from a Christian perspective, if that's what you're into. But the activations that are in it are amazing. And that's what I love to do: teach, activate people, and yeah, kind of go from there. So there you go. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Matt. Next up, we've got Jenny.
I am Jenny St. Clair. I'm an intuitive energy worker. I'm also a trained counselor, equine assisted psychotherapist, and somatic healer. I've also taught people how to be psychic, how to tap into all of these natural tools that we have. And what's really drawing me at this moment is helping energy attuned people tend themselves first, so that they are vibrating at a certain energy that will allow more honoring connections throughout their lives. And I just see over and over, both in my work as an intuitive, as a healer, as a counselor, kind of you name it, they're all kind of under that healing umbrella, that people tend to put themselves last and not really tend or build a relationship with self. And I find that when people do, they gain a lot more freedom, a lot more choice, and more generosity and kindness. And ultimately, it builds more love for themselves. And then that spreads out for everybody else. And I really love working with people and just watching them light up to who they are and build relationship with who they are. And I'm really happy to be here tonight. I do have a special for 50% off of one of my psychic readings. It's an hour long. I do also have a program that I'm working on. I didn't put in the special for that, but it's a 3-month program working on kind of integrating your soul truth into your life. And if you're interested in knowing more about that or in the reading, just email me at jenny@jennystclair.com, and I would love to talk with you.
Great. Thanks so much, Jenny. All right. Andrea.
Hello, I'm Drea. I currently do intuitive healing and readings, and I facilitate the energy reading primarily with Oracle and or Tarot cards. I also will be opening to spiritual coaching. My website is currently in development, so when I have that available, I'll be sure to put that information out at a later date. For today, I can provide insight about what we are experiencing energetically from an astrological standpoint.
Great. Great. And then I'll introduce myself too. I'm putting the basic intro in the chat again. I'm Laureli Shimayo. In addition to running the panel, I'm also going to be participating. I'm an intuitive eye reader. I think that we all read eyes all the time. So much is missing when we can't see someone's eyes, and then so much is there when we can see them. So I use a set of archetypes to describe what I see. I'm looking at your natural talents that point to your purpose, your pacing or speed or rhythm that you engage the world, how you make decisions, how you most easily communicate, what motivates you, how you protect yourself, and overall consciousness lessons. So I'm seeing who you are, I'm reading your soul, and then I can answer questions about your soul so you better understand and appreciate and come to love more and more of who you are, and also so that you can grow to share the best of who you are in the world. I answer questions on your purpose, on your lesson. I can answer questions on people in your life if you show me photos of them. And I love to use my work for matchmaking too. So I have separate matchmaking work I do for that. That's a bit more of an ongoing process. But I believe that similar eyes, similar souls are soulmates. So I'm excited to be with you tonight. It's been a while since we've had a panel, and it's exciting to have us all together, and always fun to have new practitioners in the mix too. So as you can see, I've got wild energies going on all around me. I've got like people coming and cleaning the space, and I'm sitting in a cafe because we got no electricity at home in my log cabin. So wild things everywhere. Well, let's see. So practitioners, is there anything else you want to share about you or your background? After hearing each other, sometimes it prompts and like you'll think of other things about yourself or your background or your offers that you want to share. Anything like that? There for anyone? Okay. So maybe we'll just go through and talk about the theme a little bit. So I chose the theme just as a way of holding all of what we do together. So being with the wild energies of these times, it seems like there's wild stuff going on in so many ways. I know that Mercury is retrograde right now, and then just all the politics that are going on, and the weather certainly is weird and different in different areas of the country, and just so much happening. Anyone wants to list off like other ways that things are just wild right now? Like I know financially a lot of people have been stressed this last year, but then also like interest rates maybe are finally going to shift and how that will impact things. And usually it's crazy economically in an election year, and there's just so much that's here that's going on. You know, we're right here in this week in August where some people have already started going back to school, and so families are shifting their patterns. You know, kids disappearing for the school year, some families, and but you know, so just the whole fall pattern, just so many different things. It's been a really important week in many people's lives. I know my partner also, because we have no electricity, we both hung out in the cafe before she took off. She just left for 2 weeks in Canada. She's going to help lead a kayaking trip. So she hasn't gone away. We counted, look back, she hasn't gone away for 2 weeks in like maybe 18 years. So we haven't been together all this time. So yeah, great big trip for her. So shifting our patterns. I'm home taking care of the kids. So yeah, who else wants to jump in, practitioners, and talk about some of the wild energies of these times? And we can also start talking about how to be with them. But yeah, what's wild about this time?
I would say some of the other things that I see that are kind of wild right now would include, you know, all of the different gender things that are up, and where it used to be kind of more black or white, you were male or female. Now we're just opening and normalizing so many other ways of being. And I think that throws a lot of people off, sometimes mentally, but also sometimes just like in a natural way. They might be looking or talking to somebody and automatically thinking he or she, rather than opening the question of, what's your truth? So I think that's definitely something that's coming along. And then the other thing I also notice has to do with patriarchy and divine feminine. Everything's rising right now, just to create a lot of healing. And so there's a lot of these old patriarchal ways of being. And I don't mean patriarchy as in any kind of male bashing. It's a system that has been created and we've been living in. But it's up for review and it's up for healing right now. And so I just see a lot shifting around these topics as well.
Yeah, like I didn't say my introduction, right? I'm non-binary. My pronouns are she, her, they, them, or she. And I realized in the last couple of years that I'm on the autism spectrum. And so that being so much more present in the culture, that so many more of us are talking about that, and so much more acceptance personally and growing acceptance in society about all the different ways that we show up. Yeah, definitely shifting things. Yeah, practitioners, anything else you want to share about just wild energies? And, those of you that are in the audience too, if you see ways that things are wild right now, feel free to put things in the chat. I mean, it's so exciting that we have a woman of color that's running for president, and shaking up so many things for people, right? And just the whole dynamics of the two parties. It's so wild. Go ahead, DoveLight.
Regarding the wild times, if it resonates with you, when we come to this planet, when we come to this earth as spiritual beings, we are just by being here always going to expose to the environment, to our families, to our community. Even when our body is being created inside our mommy's womb, we're also being exposed to what she's eating, how she's feeling. So being alive, feeling, it's living. Feeling is not only our emotions, which are very important, but also feeling around us. So if you go through numerology, to astrology, to your karmic number, through your ancestral cycle, to your own being, and the vibration of your name, there is always going to be cycles changing, because being in the planet Earth, being part of nature, because we are, as spiritual beings, we are in nature, we eat food that's solid. We are cycle beings, just like the moon. Sometimes there is a full moon, sometimes there is a new moon, sometimes it's in the weaving period, the water cycle. It goes, it changes. We are the seasons, we are cycle beings, which means that perhaps sometimes the collective will be influenced, but also you will have your own cycles. Some people are passing through heartbreak, some people are releasing people, some people are having new jobs, people are getting divorced, and other people are starting a new family, a new beginning. So there is many diversity in what wild can be for you, kind of overwhelming. And even though it is true that we get influenced by the universe, by the astrology, by our family ancestry energies, there is also the truth that no matter what's going on, if you are able to take a moment, again, the most simple medicine and one of the most powerful is to get to know yourself. So you become your best friend. When these wild energies are happening, whatever is going on into your life, if you're willing to be there for yourself, if you're willing to take a moment to breathe and just to be with you, this energy will help you to move in a direction there is more balance, whatever wild energy means for you. Because yes, there is so many ways that we can get influenced, we can get affected, but at the end of the day, even as empath, it is our own responsibility to be there for ourselves. And how are you going to be there for ourselves if you don't allow time to get to know yourself? It's very easy to get readings from people. It's very easy to get astrology, or we get anything else, the influence, not only astrology, many things, numerology, any type of reading. It's very easy to get that as a guidance, but that doesn't mean that it's going to take the power away from you to choose for your own life. So whatever is happening in your life, ask for help. We didn't came here to suffer. We do get influence. We do get our challenge, our troubles. I'm not gonna lie to you that being a spirit will help perfectly, because it's not. It's actually very spiritually help us grow the challenges in life. So I just wanted to honor that no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what level of challenge you're passing through, you are not alone. You can ask for help. But the most important is that willingness to live, it comes from you, because living is actually what makes us part of these wild energies, you know? I hope I make sense, but that was what is coming up for me with this. Thank you, everybody.
That's great. Thank you. Andrea's got something to share.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say that energetically, with the astrology behind all of this, one of the main things that is happening right now is we are transitioning through two astrological ages, and an astrological age lasts, I believe, 26,000 years, give or take. So we are transitioning right now from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. So what we're seeing is that old Piscean energy is starting to fall off. And the Piscean age gave us a lot of things with religion and intuition and, you know, secrecy. And it could have been better, but unfortunately, it was operating from the shadow aspect of Piscean energy. And as a Pisces sun, I can tell you firsthand that energy that's that shadow is tough to deal with. It is secretive, it is manipulative, it can also be vindictive and destructive, and energy that is very difficult to bring out of the shadow. And that's what we've seen probably the last, I would say, 200 or 300 years worldwide. So with this old energy leaving and this new energy coming in, it's really creating some tumultuous times, some tough times to deal with. But the Aquarian energy is being boosted because we just had the planet of Pluto move into the sign of Aquarius. So that is really bringing in that community, that harmony, that understanding, that humanity, that light portion of Aquarian energy. But we have to be careful going forward in this Aquarian energy because it has its own shadow. So if we can find that balance between the light and the shadow of both energies, and get ourselves more into the light side of these energies, then we can bring about some significant change for a lot of people.
Laureli, you're muted.
Yes, thank you so much. I usually don't mute, and I'm muting today. Thank you. Someone in the chat mentioned solar flares, and I was taking a look, and the solar flares are particularly intense just today. So just in these 24 hours, evidently we're having 8 capital M flares. I don't really know M flares. So the sun activity is very high, just in particular. So last 24 hours, it says solar activity jumped to high in the past day with the production of these 8 M flares. And it's just like yesterday, today, kind of the report going into tomorrow. So particularly intense time with that too. Yeah, and I think with, to me, the big skill that I've learned is to be able to be like a stand, but that's also like bendy, so that whatever's going on, I can connect to the earth, I can connect to the sky, and I also can flow with whatever's happening, be they feelings that are happening inside me, be they impacts from outside of me. Like my job to be able to flow, like the model of like the really tall trees, you know, that sway in the wind, like aspen trees. And I spent a lot of time in Colorado. There's amazing in the ways that they're able to flow with what's here. So in various energetic ways, being able to do that for ourselves. Yeah, so using a model like that, some part of nature that can be really supportive, right? The roots down in the ground and then reaching up. Yeah.
That actually makes me think of the phrase "as above, so below." I cannot remember exactly where it originated, but that's a very good way of putting it. You know, what we have going on in terms of the energies that are around us. It's what's going on above us, but as beings, in this physical 3D reality, we're kind of the roots and we can be an anchor point and kind of bridge ourselves between the two. And in by doing that, a lot of people talk about the more people who do it, the better things can be for every living creature and thing here on Earth, and healing the planet and making this reality better, and those kinds of things. But um, I think that is also part of what it is we're seeing, because a lot of people are wanting something different than what it is they know or what it is they've been taught. So I come from a Christian background, like Matt has, but as I got older, I'm like, I don't really see things as this black and white, it's this binary. There are some things that science may never explain to us that we see or we hear about or we experience ourselves, but we don't really talk about it. So this change in mindset is really starting to facilitate a lot more of events like this online, a lot more of the metaphysical fairs, a lot of people like myself starting a spiritual based business, um, tuning into their psychic abilities, mainly the main five being clairvoyant, or main four: clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairaudience, and clairsentience. So a lot of people are starting to experience that, and I personally think it's beautiful when I talk to people about this. But it's really, really beautiful to see it come from children. I think spiritual children, they are very, very beautiful individuals, and it's amazing to see. You're
Monica
muted.
mentioned something I remembered this time. Thank you. Oh no, I realized I'm used to having a second screen too, where I can watch everything at once. Monica, I think, is the one that mentioned the flares. And then Monica, you said something also about like a 10 to 11 year cycle. Are we particularly at a peak of the flares happening right now? I know when Paula mentioned something about not needing to eat as much, and let's see. Oh, Robbie's sharing inspired when you're speaking, Drea. Yeah, it's great. The impact we're having in their shares. But practitioners, anything else you want to share just about this time of these wild energies or how to be with them before we jump in and start with some questions? I know
Yeah.
Diana is first in line. Yeah, Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, so I would just say I saw Paula mention in the comments about not needing to eat. And I would say there's a lot of things now. Obviously, there's solar flares happening, there's energetic things happening, but I always kind of look at it as we've always had access to these things. Sometimes language gets in the way of just accessibility, where people feel like they're lacking something, they don't have the abilities that other people have. And even to the point where I loved what Drea said, because there are people that are like, oh, it's the end of the world, all these bad things are happening, and we go through these cycles over and over and over again, where if you listen to what people are saying, you hear like fear and you hear lack and you hear kind of these things that just, they don't have to be true. And so I always like to say we're living in the best time in human history. We're living in the most amazing times, have the most potential to see like the earth literally transformed into this paradise that has never happened in human history. And I think it starts individually with each of us and then goes out from there. And I think part of it is learning how do these energetic systems work for each of us as individuals, and then helping those that are around us. And I think just the simple thing of understanding that there is no limits. There's literally no limits for us to be able to take in energy, to use it for to many different things. And I think depending on whether you're claircognizant, clairvoyant, like whatever it is, those things are always going to be operating. But I think there's the potential for people to kind of activate all of their senses, all of their abilities, and to really grow in them as they learn how to kind of flow in this energy. And that's where I've just seen like tremendous like physical, emotional healing very, very quickly using these things. And I would say two keys to this that I'll just kind of mention and we could go into later possibly is being able to speak in light language, because I think that flow of whatever you believe about it, that power that comes through you, that light, that love, literally transforms people, transforms environments, and just creates an atmosphere. But then also with fasting, there's people from all kind of backgrounds who have like gone many, many months or even years without eating physical solid food. And I've come across a few of them, and I've done it myself for more than 40 days without food. And when you do that, it literally changes you, but gives you access and awareness to things that like you probably didn't even realize were possible. And I think that's something that I think has been always been available, but I think the awareness now and the potential of, just like what Drea said, is it's like some of these kids are stepping into things now that I think it's taken some of us who are a little bit older years to kind of figure out how they work. They just do it and it's just normal for them. And then they just go back to skipping down the street or playing basketball or doing whatever they do. And it's just simple and easy, where some of us that are a little older, we're like, how does that work? Why is that not working right now? And I think it's just like that mindset or programming that all of us, as we're growing, it starts to just kind of like hopefully go away to where we're stepping into fully what our human potential is. So that's what I got for you.
Yeah, great, great. It's the theme that we're talking about tonight is such a general theme in many ways. It's like how to presence ourselves with all that's here, right? How to play in the energies of what this is to be alive. Well, we probably can start transitioning into questions. So a few things before we start jumping into questions. So one is that I invite you all to learn from all that's asked and all that's answered, whether or not you ask a question. This is a great opportunity to practice opening your intuition. So if you have something to write on, I encourage you to scribble and draw whatever gets your attention. It might be something on screen. It might be something out the window. It might be just something that appears in your mind. And it might have something to do with the answers that we're giving this person and answers that it could be good to give this person. And so if you have something come through you that's similar to what we share in our answers, it's confirmation that you're tapping into similar things as us. Of course, you might have very relevant things come through you that we happen to not mention. If you do have something come through you that you wonder is for the person that asked the question, please, if you could hold that while we're answering them, that would be great. And then if you want afterwards, you're welcome to private chat them and ask them if they'd like to hear what came through you. Please honor whatever they share. If they want to hear it, great, go ahead. And if they don't, please trust that it came through you for another reason, not to be sharing with them. Let's see. And then when you ask a question, and I think this is always true, and it's particularly true when we do things in public, when we go to answer, if we go deeper than you want us to go in this public format that's being recorded and it's going up on YouTube, or if we start talking about these other topics that for us are related, but like you don't want us sharing about that here, tell us, jump in, interrupt us, and give us guidance so we stay in this zone in the way that we're answering you tonight. And as I mentioned earlier too, you can come up on video and ask questions with us on video. And if you want, you can just speak from the side, and you can also just give me your question and I will call it out. We do request that you pay before asking us a question. I know we had at least one person already pay to ask a question tonight. It's 20 to 28 sliding scale, or $12 for BIPOC folks as a step of making reparations. So thanks for paying to ask a question. It's what supports us to continue to have panels and supports all the marketing that we do to make sure we've got a cool group of you here tonight. Well, let's see. So DD, we didn't talk about whether you wanted to be anonymous or what you wanted to do. And by the way, Daniel found the full aphorism in the chat. Still don't know where it's from, but yeah, DD, did you want to jump up on the panel and jump up here and ask a question? Should I bring you up?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
All right,
I'm up.
great. I'm going to bring you up on screen. All right. And you can ask a question. I say anyone can ask a question on anything. Like it doesn't have to be connected to the theme. It might impact the way we answer. You can ask a question on anything. Chances are we will have something to share. So go ahead. As Diana, is that how I pronounce your name?
Deanna.
Diana? Hey, Diana, yeah.
Mhm.
What is your question tonight?
So I am working on having unconditional love for everything and everyone. That is difficult because I feel like part of that includes being honest, not just with myself, but with other people, not in a harsh way, but in a loving and accepting way. The people I'm around, though, they're not ready for that, and that's not their path right now. But I don't feel comfortable being myself around them. So I know that means I don't have unconditional love for myself. So I want to know if anyone have any sort of insight on how I can have more love and be more comfortable with myself, being around people who aren't quite comfortable with being authentic with themselves at the moment.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much for asking, for sharing. I guess maybe a question. Like I'm assuming that you feel scared, like you imagine if you were yourself, that something bad would happen that you don't want or you don't want for them. Like you don't want for you, you don't want for them. Is that correct?
Yes, I don't want people to feel uncomfortable or weird because I can be a little weird. So I feel comfortable when I'm not around people who feel uncomfortable by it, but I'm constantly at work around certain energies that don't that rather people work and interact in a certain way. And I'm just not that type of person. Not that I want to be, but I just want to be okay with not doing the things the way other people do it, I guess.
They and practitioners, if someone, okay, yeah, DoveLight's ready. Wait, I'll probably just let DoveLight jump in and I'll take some notes. All right, go ahead, DoveLight.
It's okay. You can go first if you want to go
Oh.
first.
No, feel free, just jump in. It's okay.
First of all, thank you so much for honoring us with your question. It is very important to understand that we came here, if it resonates with you, to master love. And master love, it's in many different ways. We, just as a spirit, the great spirit, the divine God, it has so many forms, so many ways. We cannot really label how unconditional love looks like for every single person. The most important for you, if you choose to understand, is that a form of compassion and conditional love is to know your boundaries, where to say no. How much do you want to give your energies to these people? If you need to pay your bills, if you need your check, you need stuff, good, you can stay there, but you can choose not to give too much of your energy. Be discerning. Who deserves your beauty? Who deserves the progress you're doing as a spiritual being? You, because it's your connection to the divine, and that will be naturally reflected to others. And that connection through the divine that you already cultivated will help you to know who to share, how much to share with, who to say no, and who to say yes. You say something very beautiful. If they're not ready, if you're aware that people are not ready to change the way that you will like them, we have to leave a little bit of our ego on the side. And I think you already got this, to understand that they have the right. If you really love somebody, you have the right to be whichever way they want to be. If it doesn't match with you, then you have to choose to love yourself enough to separate that. But people have the right to be the way they want to be, as we have the right to be the way we want to be. Sometimes it doesn't match. Sometimes we feel like, no, you should not doing that. That's wrong. And sometimes we have an awareness that perhaps they might go to the wrong path. but it's not for us to choose for another soul. Not even archangels can choose interfere in others people's souls lessons, soul life planning. And this happens not only in relationship, in throughout the world. There are things that we be like, what the heck is going on with this world? How are these people doing this to everybody else? And we don't understand that perhaps it's a gift that they have the choice to choose now in their own soul levels that we don't understand from a higher perspective. I see that there might be some regrets. It is very important to take a moment to consciously choose who you give to energy or not, because you might regret later thinking that you're doing them a favor, you're being kind to them, then in a way you're betraying your own values. So if you feel like your values are being in jeopardy, please don't regret choosing for your own well-being, so you don't feel resentment to yourself, because it will go. And do not give your power away. One thing is being nice, and another thing is being taken advantage. So that, again, that's another self-reflection to yourself. How much am I willing to give my goodness to others in a way that they don't take advantage of me, or they don't take too much and there is no reciprocity, you know? I feel like you are a very lovely person, with the Three of Cups, a person who is lovely to be around. 5, 6, 7, energetically, you have a gift. You can feel people's energy through their words as well. So like you feel like they're saying something and you kind of sense like, no, that's not what they really mean, or they mean something else. So that's why you put your defenses. The Hangman and the Two of Swords is also talking about an energy to stay reflecting, to don't move yet, to assess the situation first. And I think it's my time is up and I haven't been a long time. Highly recommend you put your boundaries, choose for you, reevaluate what unconditional love means for real. And thank you so much for not giving your power away. Okay, I got my 2 minutes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, DoveLight. Is anyone else ready to jump in and share? Go ahead, Jenny.
Hi there. Thank you so much for your question. I can just see this beautiful softness around you. And so you already have a lot of the love that you want for other people. And what's interesting is when it's just you in your own space, you can glow and vibrate at unconditional love so beautifully. And it seems like it gets a little bit tricky when other people start coming into, your field. And I'm actually seeing inside of your heart space in your chest, it almost looks like a Rubik's Cube. And you know how they can get kind of messed up where all the colors are all over the place and you're like in your own self as you're trying to figure out, how do I be unconditional love in the presence of this other person? And I don't want to make them feel bad, and I want to honor them and honor me. All of these questions and all of this trying to figure things out, that kind of makes that Rubik's Cube get more jumbled up as you're trying to figure it out. And so in a way, it's almost like, let's breathe. Let's let that Rubik's Cube rest. And let's really come back to, I know love. I know unconditional love. I am unconditional love. And I'm going to vibrate that way. I'm going to bring that right back into myself. And I'm kind of thinking about what DoveLight was saying a little bit as well. I'm going to vibrate at who I really am and at my level of love, no matter where I am. And you may or may not say anything to that person, but they're going to feel that unconditional love regardless. And so kind of letting those boundaries kind of inform you of, this is the place to talk. This is not the place to talk. This is a place for action. This is a place to hold for a moment. But regardless of what you choose to do externally, what you get to do internally is stay with that love that you already have and already know within yourself. And the more you continue to do that for you, because there's nothing wrong with you. You being exactly how you are is perfect and beautiful just as it is. So when you get to develop even more relationship with that part of you and develop more love with you and vibrate at unconditional love, it's so healing for you. But every time you do that, it's also healing for those people who are around you. So you're already doing the great work. And sometimes it just feels a little bumpy, especially when that little Rubik's Cube starts coming into play. So that's just a moment to pause and kind of come back to, oh, I know me, I know that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Jenny. Anyone else ready to share? Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, so I saw some fun things for you. So when you first just even started asking your question, I saw this like little chicken running around, and I just wanted to say, like, sometimes you're actually going to make people like feel like they want to run away. And I don't usually say this to people, but you really are an exposer. And what I mean by that is just you being in the room with somebody who's doing shady stuff, who's doing things that they know that they shouldn't do, you're going to pick it up. And you might not get 100% of it, but you'll just have that like clear cognizance. You'll know that you know that you know. And one of the things that you can do, because you're talking about love, you're talking about like, how do I kind of venture through this? Well, telling the truth is absolutely love, but it's not the exposure of you calling them out. It's the exposure of you just being around them, where the shady stuff that they're doing, they're going to want to actually be a better person. Even if you were doing shady stuff, they will want to be a better person. And so it's the thing of you. I always like to use the analogy of a bridge. Everybody can look at a bridge, see that it's broken, knowing that an engineer is the one that needs to fix it, and that it's going to take money, it's going to take time, and you don't have to be the bridge fixer. You don't need to date somebody who's broken. You don't need to be around people that are broken. It's all a choice of, it's going to take this long for them to change, for them to grow. And even if you point out, hey, your bridge is broken, like, they already know it. And there are going to be times where that's actually going to be helpful, but most of the time it's not. Like, come with a solution to their problems. But in most cases, for your own emotional health, you just kind of have to go, hey, I'm going to choose to be a lifelong learner. I'm going to choose to be love, but this is not my project. This is not my mess. Because otherwise you will attract those people into your life. And it's not because of anything you've done that's wrong. It's just because you will literally expose them and cause them to grow. And some of it's street smarts, but also a lot of it is just your intuition and how you're made. And then the last thing I'll say is, if you're feeling like, hey, I need to kind of expose this person at work, and you need to do it in an appropriate way, just tell a story about a friend of yours who's doing a certain thing. And you don't have to like look at them and be like, I know what you're doing, but you can just tell a story about a friend. And just maybe watching them squirm isn't the right way to say it, but you know what I mean, where like they know that and you know that and so then it's like everything's cool, and you'll find that that will actually clear out a lot of stuff just by having that conversation. So that's what I got for you.
Thank you for all the input and the information, because I'm definitely resonating with everything you guys are saying. So I appreciate it.
Great, thank you. All right. Angela or Drea, do you have something?
Yeah, I'll just add to what everybody's saying, that you don't need to dull your light to make anybody else comfortable. If there's a whole bunch of people that are really having bad reactions to you being you, then it's good time to consider, have you outgrown the situation or the group or the relationship, etc. And maybe that's a subtle, excuse me, a subtle sign from the universe that it's kind of time to move on. You've mastered this level, this is not the right fit anymore. Nobody resonates with every group forever. We're not supposed to. We're supposed to grow and change and whatnot. We all, pretty much everybody, especially in our circles, have family issues, people that we feel like we have to hide from. I know I do. You can choose how much of your time and energy you give to those people, parents, siblings, whatever. Just because you're related doesn't mean you have to be bosom buddies. I have a sister I deal with as little as possible. That's my choice because I know she's toxic and I don't need her extra ook. So I choose to limit that relationship. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are people I've cut out of my life because they became too toxic or they were holding me back. Maybe the relationship was very good at one point, but I grew beyond, that paradigm, and it was time for us to go our separate ways. To stay together would have been the most hurtful thing that we could have done because it would have held us both back. So you do you. You're not responsible for them.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Angela. Drea, you said you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go. So as you were asking your question and as everyone else was talking, you probably saw me. I was doing this little motion. I was actually shuffling tarot cards. And this was the card that came up for you, the World, from the Light Seers Tarot deck that I have here. And the World card signifies completion, joy, abundance, new levels of consciousness, and it can even indicate travel around the world. So with what everyone has said, and also what I've picked up, is that you are someone who's operating on a different level of consciousness than those other people around you, and you do have, a stronger intuition than those who are around you as well. And it's not. I want to say that it's not necessarily you being uncomfortable around them. They are in actuality uncomfortable around you because you come across as someone they don't really understand. Like they're around you and they may kind of either feel really uncomfortable or they may feel like, okay, I resonate with that, but I don't know how to connect. So of those two, you will be able to, like Matt said, you'll be able to eventually figure out who's hot, who's operating from light and from shadow. And those who are operating from shadow at some point will eliminate themselves from you, from your energy. So with this card coming up, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense with this consciousness shift. So just do different things to protect yourself energetically. But also you can, do things like meditation and doing ancestral veneration as well, as a way to protect yourself energetically, but also start to open up your intuition even more. That's what I recommend, doing some things that'll protect you energetically and also open up your intuition.
Thank you.
Great. Great. And let's see, I've got a few things. Move my notes over. Well, so one thing I encourage you to do is just get a sense of how much you're choosing. Do you feel scared about the impact it's going to have on someone else? Or do you really know and you're choosing? You don't want to shine your brightest light around them. And if you're really choosing, that's choice. Like I'm choosing to wear clothing sitting here in the cafe. Like it's okay to make some choices, right? But if you're scared, right, then there's something that you might want to shift because then you're not in a place where you can make a choice. So an example of a way that I prompt myself out of it if I notice that I'm scared, and this is a little bit of a harder way, but to realize that I'm imagining that they can't be with what's here. I'm imagining that they can't be with, like I'm thinking of them as less capable. So that's one way that I can shift myself out of that pattern, because I don't like it when I realize I'm thinking that way or imagining that about someone. Another thing is that part of how you might develop more trust for them to be able to be with things, you probably can imagine, like everyone here probably can imagine, sometime when in hindsight, you realize that this thing was like right in front of you. You totally could have seen it and you couldn't see it. You weren't ready. Your whole system didn't let you be with it. And so people are so much more resourceful with all that stuff than we realize. Part of what I see in your eyes is that you have a pattern of being hard on yourself, of holding yourself to a really high standard. And so that's probably part of what's in here for you. And so it's like that you question your goodness. Like you imagine that if someone like has some ripples or some things that might prompt them to grow or to look at stuff, like that somehow you're not being good if you make it uncomfortable for anyone in any way. And so really for you, looking at your goodness and celebrating your goodness, and even like the amount of you that you love yourself now, as other people pointed out, you love yourself so much right now. It's so clear that you do, the way you ask the question and just the energy of you as you ask. And so how can you celebrate? Like, I love myself as much as I'm able, as much as I can right now. Like, I've so maxed this, and like, and just celebrating how much that is and really appreciating you in that, so that you get out of the cycle of giving yourself a hard time because you know you're not perfect. There's a little bit more you could do, or another layer you could peel off, but like how you can so appreciate the fullness and the radiance that you are. I feel like that will help you with so many things, the more you can celebrate that in you. And let's see. I guess just in my kind of referencing some of what other people shared, part of what I see in your eyes too is that you're really good at perceiving more like the logical or the analytical truth, and then also the emotional truth, that you pick up both of those. And this is the dance, and it's kind of like a slippery slope thing, that if you notice that something doesn't feel as true or as aligned or as fully in integrity as it could be, it doesn't have to be your job to always call that out. Like to be in a softness of knowing, and even like, this is what I imagine. I don't even really know if it's true. Like this is just what I imagine about it. And so much what I shared about the tree earlier of like the roots and up in the sky and being able to sway with that. Like you imagine that you're not sharing your full self, or you imagine you see something that like you might contribute something to help it align more. Like play and sway with that and like see. So you're not in a place of rigidity in how you explore what you might do or be with. Yeah, that's what's here from me.
Thank you. I appreciate all the responses. It means a lot, so I definitely appreciate it.
And it's just if you're able to be with just a little bit more practitioners, or anything else you want to sprinkle in for Deanna? Anything else you see you wanted to share? Okay, great. Deanna, thank you so much for jumping in and asking a question. We deeply appreciate that. All right, let's see. And so the format we're doing tonight, some of you came in a little bit later, is we're not doing a fair tonight. So we shifted. We didn't have as many practitioners, and we actually had a whole bunch canceled today too. So we are doing a panel tonight. So we're going to stay in this main room, and we're only doing questions here on the panel. If you want to do private work with anyone that's on the panel, I'm going to paste their information in the chat again. So everyone is doing specials. I think everyone has specials, and you can do private readings with people outside of the context of this panel. So you can choose if you want for 20 to 28 sliding scale, or $12 for BIPOC folks. You can choose to ask a question here on the panel. It can be on screen, just like Deanna did, or it can also be that you're not on screen, but you ask from the audience. And it can even be a completely anonymous question that you send me and that I read out. So if anyone else would like to ask a question in that context tonight, you're welcome to do that tonight, and you're very welcome to reach out and contact the practitioners for a private session too. And if you want to ask a question of the panel tonight, please We request that you do pay first, and then let me know in the chat that you've done that and that you want to ask a question so I can get you up here. And we do have space. I don't think we have anyone else signed up right now. I'm going to take a quick look at PayPal and Venmo. If those work for you to pay, that would be great. And if not, we can figure out another way. It's our job to make this work for you. And maybe no one else has paid yet. I'm just checking. Great. Yeah. So if anyone else wants to ask a question of the panel, you got an example of how we all share slightly different things, and there are ways that they often weave in together with all the different perspectives. Some people are asking about doing private sessions with all of you panelists, so that's why that came up. So it's great. Yeah, this is part of what the panel is about, is to give you a sample. You might ask a question of us here, and also a way that you can get to know who we are and how we do our work. So you might work with us privately. Yeah, if anyone has just a general question about the energies of these times, feel free to put that in the chat, or we're looking to answer a question, personal question, just like you would ask us in a private session, just like Tiana did. Oh, someone has an anonymous question. Okay, let me work on that for a moment. Okay, they're going to pay and ask a question. Okay, great. I'm going to have them pay first. And then they'll send their question here. Yeah, since we do this with a format where it's in the group and it's public, and then also that it's recorded and getting posted on YouTube. Totally understand that some people would prefer to do that anonymously. That's great. We honor that. We appreciate the opportunity to answer. Yeah, it's just a great opportunity for us to do this together. Not only does everyone get to learn from your question and the answers, also it's great for us to be able to do this. It's like a practice for us really to do this in public for those of us that haven't done so much of it. And then it's also really great for us to hear each other's answers. That's something that we generally don't do when we do private sessions. So having the opportunity to hear what other practitioners see is really great. I'm just going to say something into my phone for yeah, and if one of you has something you want to share just about the theme in general, feel free. I'm going to send some payment information out to that person to make that easy for them.
I guess before, when we were in the beginning, and Drea mentioned about the shadow and the light, that is something very beautiful, because the truth is that when we are spiritual, and perhaps many of you know in the community, that doesn't mean your life is always gonna be perfect. You're always gonna be happy. You're not gonna throw flowers in life. There are moments in that you also need to release. There are moments that perhaps we have cultivate the compassion enough, because we cannot cheat our subconscious. You can close your heart, open your heart, but you cannot cheat your feelings. You cannot cheat how are you internally, how are you feeling. And many of us have actually do the best we can to build that compassion and that safety through the different modalities, through different experience, which means that sometimes you are doing great, you're stable, and memories will come up or triggers will come out suddenly, and you'll be like, what the heck? I thought I hear that. Or what's going on here? I thought I was okay. Perhaps if you change your perspective, you might understand that there is a part of you who feels safe now, and it's so comfortable telling you. Perhaps it's your own body showing you through an image. Perhaps it's a trigger, a trauma in childhood. They say, hey, I'm ready to listen. You know, emotions wants to be felt in order to be released. We can analyze our life, but we also have the ability to free emotions through feeling them. And it's not to get attached into that, or it's not that you're doing something wrong. You will never be blamed. And I always hear this from the spirits. I always hear this from the angels. You will never be blamed. You will never be judged by feeling your emotions, by honoring your life. Sometimes we get angry, sometimes we get happy. What we are learning is to respect each other, to be kind to each other. Easier said than done, but how will we know how to forgive sometimes, for real, if something that needs to be forgiven happened to us, if it didn't happen to us? You know how the duality of life, the shadow and the light? So let's do the best we can. Just do the best we can each day at a time, but let us not judge ourselves to the point that we are going to block our ability to live our life. We will have consequences for the choices that we're making, for the actions, but regardless of how we choose to walk our life, there is a source of unconditional love who will love you no matter what. That is out of question. We have to be responsible for the consequence of our choices because we choose them one way or another, but the source of unconditional love will always be there for you. I just wanted to honor that. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much, DoveLight. All right, we had well, let's see, we had someone else. We had someone else pay too, so we've got a couple people in line right now. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, are you okay to, the person that just wrote me, are you okay to come up on video, or do you want me to, I didn't understand, are you wanting me to, do you want to just speak it from where you are, or? Oh, you want me to read it? Okay. Do you not want people to know who you are? Like, I'm trying to sort out how to. Okay, so you don't want people to know who you are. Okay, great. Okay, so someone anonymous in the audience is asking, and let me, so we got two anonymous ones in a row. So the person wants to know about their ancestral energy and who walks with them, or as they wrote it, I'm curious about my ancestral energy and who walks with me. So whatever we all pick up. And I get that I have the advantage or the disadvantage of knowing who it is. Yeah, so practitioners check in. Let's see, and we've got DoveLight's ready. So DoveLight, go ahead.
Thank you so much for your question. Ancestral healing is one of my passions as well. There's many different forms of ancestral healing. They're asking me to tell you that please have an attitude of gratitude. Every single day of your life is a precious gift. So please know that even though you might have not the best relationship with your family in the physical realm, your ancestors know who you are. And they were grandmothers and ancestors who knew who you were. And my dogs are waking up, who knew you were, and they're guiding you and helping you through your spiritual guardians. But they want you to have an attitude of gratitude because they're telling me that, as many of us know, this will help you to shift your energy. Oh, I'm gonna have to pause because I have to call my dog because the message.
This is great. Your dog has an answer. All right, she's doing something with her dog. I totally think your dog has an answer to this too. So
Yes, they're telling me to speak up their voice, but I don't want to be rude, so I give the space to somebody else if they need it. That's also about speaking up. They're telling me that there might be the possibility that there is Lala, relax.
and just I want you all to know, DoveLight's been on here so many times. I've never heard of dogs barking before.
And I also have the death card, but we're learning the endings are merely beginnings. So they're asking you to speak up your voice because they also want you to know that they are listening. We are only one thought away from there. I highly recommend you to work with your throat chakra. I can see you sitting in nature, speaking to the air, speaking to the wind. So I don't know if this is something that you're already doing, but your prayers have been listened and they helping you to prepare for you to have more stability in your life, because they'll see you as very precious. I feel that you definitely have grandmothers who were very spiritual. That I have no doubt. I also feel a lot of family. I also have the 5, 6, 7, 8 of sources telling me that there is something that is being closed up. Again, I feeling like a sense of being trapped, especially in the chest area, which is when I was picking up when I hear the question. They're telling me that you do have the ability to manifest what you truly want in your life, but there is something related to self-esteem that needs to be worked first. And they want you to understand that you are not alone. So I feel like perhaps there was a death in the family that has make you realize that who is behind me, who is in the other side, who can I get along with, Definitely, you are meant to be open your spiritual path because you're guided by your ancestors, because you have at least I know for a fact that there was grandmothers who knew how to work with medicine, who knew about energy healing, and somehow they are guiding you to this process, but it's gonna take time. Just know that it has to do with self-esteem a little bit. They want you to see yourself like a stable person, like a person who can celebrate their winners. I feel like you have some achievements in life, but you didn't have the time to congratulate yourself. You felt like you will have to have an achievement because that was the way to be, because that's what's supposed to be as adults in society. So there is a high recommendation for you to have the space to allow yourself to congratulate yourself for all the achievement and all the success you have in your life. Highly recommend you to, if you choose to do so, keep praying, keep doing offerings. You can do a candle, you can do something from your heart, call upon your ancestors, and they will show through you through dreams. They will show to you through messages, through synchronicities. With my dog barking and having the 8 of Swords is definitely something to do with your chakra. Perhaps there was an ancestor who felt like who couldn't speak up, and they don't want you to repeat the same ancestral pattern in this lifetime. They were like for you to be able to express yourself in a way that doesn't feel so tight for who you are. And I hope I make sense. And sorry about the dog. Thank you.
That's great, dog. Totally jumping in there. All right. Is anyone else ready with an answer? Okay, we've got Jenny and then Drea. Go ahead, Jenny.
I saw some pretty amazingly strong energy from your ancestor line. The way I was seeing it was at this shape that kind of came up like this, and it was gold and kind of metal, and you were standing in between these two shapes. And there is a male figure that's walking along your right side, shorter than you. And what I notice is like the energy is so strong and resounding from your ancestral line that there's something that you all really came here to do. And that's why you kept choosing this ancestral line. And you're offering something that's very important to the world. And at the same time, like I've heard so many times today, we're all human also. So we have lessons as well. And one of the things I'm seeing is that you are carrying and trying to heal through your own body some stuff that comes from your ancestral line. And when I look at how much of it is actually yours to heal, it's only about 20%. So that means you're still carrying 80% of heaviness in your own system that doesn't actually need to be healed through your body. And so if you want to play a little energy imagination game, out in your energy field, there's going to be a place where there's this ancestral healing place. And so you can kind of release that 80% that's not for you to heal in your body out to this ancestral healing place. And in releasing it there, it's actually great because it allows more space for all of your ancestors to get a healing in this healing place. And it will affect the line backwards and forwards in that healing. And some of what I was seeing around that is it looked like there was this kind of pipe that kind of went down the back of your head and into your chest. And that's kind of resonating with something that I was seeing DoveLight talking about, where it was something about your self-esteem. And so this is kind of your knowing place here at the top of your head. And then chest is sort of like, gosh, how am I in affinity with myself? Do I like myself? Am I attracted to myself? And that's kind of that self-esteem piece. So in releasing a lot of that energy, it kind of frees you up to actually allow more of your own natural oh, I know who I am and I know my value in and of myself. So that is beautiful. And then when I see that release happening, this person who's walking on your right hand side kind of runs up and just joins you. And then you have this ancestor walking with you that's got a lot of great information. And between the two of you, there's something about moving forward what your ancestral line came here to do. So great opportunity. I love the question. Thank you for that. And I hope that, you know, releasing and playing with these things is helpful for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. All right, Drea, next.
So something that I picked up was I saw this field full of wild flowers, like white and yellow, and hearing both DoveLight and Jenny talk about some issues around self-esteem, that just and seeing yellow flowers, that indicates that some work needs to be done on the solar plexus chakra, which is going to help you with that self-esteem and that self-love, and give you a little bit more confidence with the things it is you're trying to accomplish, including any ancestral connection that you would like to make stronger. But also flowers are going to be important towards your healing and your ancestral lines healing. It might also I'm also picking up, you might be good with learning about herbs and herbalism and how to do things with herbs in terms of healing. So that is something that you can also learn and look into exploring. And I definitely recommend that to strengthen your ancestral connections. If you set up an ancestral altar in your home, they will come and they will make themselves more, present in your life, and they will be grateful for your offerings and for having that connection with you. And they do want to connect with you. That's why they had you ask that question, right? And through ancestral veneration, they will reveal themselves to you. Sorry, I just got something. It's someone who's, I know Jenny indicated there's someone on your right hand side, but there's also someone who's on the left. It is feminine energy, but they're not making themselves known, but it's this strong feminine energy, and that's who's wanting the flowers. So if you don't set up an ancestor altar, the other thing you can do is have flowers in your home, and she will come in and for sure start to give you guidance, and she's going to send you signs, and you'll notice synchronicities. And when you start noticing certain numbers repeating or seeing certain animals or something like that, that will be her communicating certain things, communicating with you. So start to pay attention to those things as they happen.
All right, great. Thank you, Drea. Anyone else ready to share with this person?
Sure, I could go. Do you want to ask the question one more time?
Sure. So the specific wording is, I'm curious about my ancestral energy and who walks with me.
So this isn't going to answer the question directly, but I'll just share what I kind of saw. Like the first thing is, as soon as the question was asked the first time, is I saw like a green dragon. I saw, which to me is like your heart is like really, really open. And so I thought of Mount Shasta being the heart chakra and feeling like that would be a good connecting point for you. And wow, just a place for you to kind of make some life decisions, make some trades, especially with some of the people in your life. And I sense that you have been able to pick up who's around you and even know who their names are. And so I just want to acknowledge that's a real thing for you. That's not just you making stuff up. You are really picking them up. And then I also sense that in your family line, a lot of people have not accomplished, in a sense, what their purposes are or what they were supposed to do in their life. And in a sense, kind of, I don't know what word to actually use. It's not a laziness. It's not a, they didn't know any better. And they just kind of just didn't finish some of the things that they were supposed to do. So I would just encourage you, like the thing that I just kept hearing, I wrote it down, is just keep walking this path because it's different than the path that everyone else has walked. And so I feel like most of your ancestors are, in a sense, kind of almost shoving you and cheering you on and wanting to see you move forward, even in ways that maybe you're unsure, you're not yeah, you're not always sure of exactly the way that you should go, but you just kind of do flow. And so that was just kind of the main thing that I was seeing, is that you're really the first in your family that's even considering some of the questions that you're asking. And I would just say, whatever you believe, spirit, your oversoul, your higher self, whatever it is, just keep asking these questions, because just like you're doing with us, you've probably already gotten answers just for yourself from yourself by asking these questions. Just don't ignore the information that you're also picking up, because you're very powerful and that you can receive these answers directly for yourself as well. So that's what I got.
All right, great. Anyone else?
I would just add that all our ancestors walk with us all the time. They are literally physically part of us. Their memories, their traumas are passed down in our DNA. We are literally part of them, for better or worse. If you want to know, different ones will come through for different things, a lot of times. So if you want to know who's working with you on a particular topic or who's around you the most, you can ask them to appear in a dream. You could ask, hey, send me a sign. Maybe a picture will fall over, or a picture you long forgot you even had will come out of a book, random book. Any number of ways they can make themselves known. Genealogy, if you do genealogy research, can be very enlightening sometimes. And you might find that you don't get any information on this person, but you get a ton of information. It just comes out of the woodwork on this person. That might be somebody worth, having a conversation with and making some offerings to and doing some journey work with. But all our ancestors are around and in and out around us all the time.
Okay, great. And I'll share a little bit too. So I just have some images come up, and in some ways it's like a little mix up to me of like past lives or ancestors, but some of the images that I have are I have a lion, so like a really big lion. So it's a big lion walking with strength and boldness, and I have an image of a woman that maybe feels maybe Egyptian, and she's carrying a walking staff, and I feel like her hair is in a big braid, a big thick braid, and I'm a little confused about, I have like Egyptian and Sumerian kinds of images coming up for me, and I feel like something of the clothing, it feels like wide here and then it narrows in. And then the lion and the more Egyptian woman feel impatient, and then there's a Sumerian woman that's shorter, that's I can't tell, maybe I'm picking up both sides, but she feels much more patient. So the energy of the Egyptian woman and the lion, they feel impatient. They're just like, come on, like, let's go. Like, there's just like so much that I feel like your energy's in here too. Like they're right here with you, of like so much that you see and that you want and that you're ready for, and other people are not moving forward and not ready. And so it's like a line of them with you. And but there is patience here at the same time. And yeah, so like they're wanting you to know that, yeah, we get it, we feel the same way. Like we feel that impatience and the wanting of more. And at the same time, there's this trusting of like, we've been at this for a long time, so yeah, there's more to do, and like we got to just keep stepping. So that's yeah, what's coming up for me.
That's
And
awesome.
coming in.
Thank you, everybody. That was perfect.
All right, great. All right, and let's see. So we've got another person that's wanting to ask, and I'm just going to have to sort out a little bit of back and forth, helping them pay. So it'll be just another moment, everyone, and then we'll get this person up on screen too. And yeah, thanks so much for your question. Appreciate asking in all the different ways that it works for people. So yeah, practitioners, anything you want to share for a moment, and I'll be right back.
I'll share just a little bit. I didn't say much about my journey, and I kind of started more as a young person, early 20s, with learning my psychic and intuitive gifts at a school. And I was so lucky to do that. And actually, I'll even back up. I come from a family of 3 psychologists. So there was like a lot of mental stuff that happened in my family. And then when I did the my psychic and intuitive work, there was so much happening as spirit, and it was just sometimes just kind of above the body and not as grounded in the body. Although as I'm listening to old things, I'm recognizing some of that was just me. It took me a while to bring a lot of my energy down in. And then when I went to school for counseling, they were getting better about it just being in the mind. But I really worked more with emotions. And then I did equine assisted psychotherapy training. And the reason I did that is because it seemed really imperative that we bring our energy and all of who we are as spirit into our body and live through the body. And the beauty of being around horses and helping us do all of this work is that, gosh, if you're around a 1,500 pound animal, you better be really present, because they could do something and you need to be ready to go and move at any moment. But also, horses are just the most beautiful reflectors of authentic truth and energy. And so I love that they kind of bring that awareness of energy outside of us, spirit, emotion, thought, all of it comes really into present time. And then just some somatic work, because I needed a little bit more help working with my body. And because we are, you hear that saying all the time, we're a spiritual being having a human experience. And a lot of times when we are working in the spiritual realm, they think, oh, the best evolution is to like transcend the body. But I actually believe it's more about bringing everything in and through the body, which isn't always easy, but it is not for the faint of heart. And those of us who are on that path, gosh, lots of strength and courage and more power to you. So just thought I'd share that a little bit.
That's great. Thank you so much. Oh, let's see. Go ahead, Drea.
Yeah, this isn't I'm not sure who this is for in the audience, but I just picked up very strongly this energy. I believe it's a passed on loved one, and they might be from a past life, but they just showed up for you because I kind of felt like they put their hand on my right shoulder. So if you felt that sensation, that's someone who wants to work with you and connect with you and guide you, and they want you to know that they believe you have pretty wings, and they want you to help spread your wings so that you can be more in tune with yourself and with doing this kind of work. And they're very warm, they're very loving. So when they show up for you, you don't need to fear them. They okay, they appear as exactly that. It's not, they're not neither male or female. So they do have a desire, though, strong desire to work with you and to help you heal, because they see so much potential in you, and they love you very much. So if if that resonated, having a warm sensation, or it felt like someone touched your right shoulder, that message is for whoever's in the audience. So thanks for letting me share that, Laureli. That just came in very, very strong.
Great, yeah, you're welcome. So the person that did pay, I got your payment. I'm attempting to find out what your question is. So you're still on here. I texted to ask for your question. So either in chat or by texting, please let me know your question. We want to answer it. Yeah. Okay, great. Oh, and people don't have to be in a Facebook group to join the panel. They just can go to if anyone goes to join MeWeOnline.com, they can get in. They can that'll take them to the page where they can just click on the link to get in Zoom. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to find out what this person's questions is. Oh my gosh, okay. Well, the person started to ask, I recently had a tarot reading with someone. Okay, here we go. I recently had a tarot reading with someone who is psychic. She thinks I am going to be a spiritual leader and suggested I explore where this may go. She said to look into other cultures and civilizations, Aboriginals or Native Indians, etc., because as spiritual people, we come from the earth people, and this tribe is underneath me as my powerhouse. Question is, my family lineage is European in this life, so would this be more about my own spirit? And there's more coming. Yeah, so I had a tarot reading with someone who's psychic. She thinks I'm going to be a spiritual leader. Suggested I explore where this goes. Look into other cultures. So in this life, her family lineage is European. So would this be more about her own spirit rather than family-based, and where would I start? So this person is asking where would they start to explore all this? Okay, great, Drea. Oh wait, DoveLight, sorry, DoveLight's hands up and then Drea. So go ahead, DoveLight, and then Drea.
First of all, I apologize because I didn't know my camera switch when Drea was speaking. I got some charcoal because I was putting some Palo Santo for the ancestors who were coming before to honor them. So sorry about that. I didn't mean to be rude. First of all, right before when you were telling the question, there is something very important to understand that even if a psychic tell you that there is a possibility, or any a medium or whatever, whoever person it is, nobody should tell you who you are and what you are unless it resonates and you believe it. If you're already doubtful, if you're already fearful, there is a moment to resonate. Just because one has a spiritual gift, just because one decides to take on a spiritual path, that doesn't mean that they have your best interest. It doesn't mean that there is ethics. It doesn't mean that they have the right to tell you who you can be and who you can. If these messages that these psychics resonate with you, then please remember, if you choose to do so, that every spiritual work is about being of service one way or another. Of course, we're gonna earn some income. Perhaps some people do it in profit. Perhaps some people have, get this is their daily living, which is fine. Everybody has the right to do. But when we're talking about specifically indigenous cultures, because I came from one that I honor and respect, and I'm very connected to many indigenous leaders from different cultures around the world, even to this day, it is very important to always approach it with respect. It is very important to be mindful of their ways and their cultures, because there is a lot of cultural appropriation, there is a lot of misuse, there is a lot of people who make money out of these things, and it's not the best respectful way. What do I mean by that? Is that I'm not saying that you're gonna do it. I'm just saying that those are the things that we might have to consider before going and having the honor and the blessing to incorporate or be open to learn from indigenous cultures or any culture that is not ours. We always have to approach it with respect. We should never ever romanticize shamanism, because when somebody, and this happens in most of the ancient cultures in the world, when somebody is called to be of service as a medicine person, as helping others, it's not romanticized. A lot of these people suffer many illness, suffer many challenges. It's not something that you choose to pick, oh, I want to do this now, because it's like a calling from your soul, from your heart, and it is something that the spirits choose you to do so. And the spirits can choose us to do many different ways of love and service, but it is something very, very deep that I can't even explain with words. Every single culture around the world, no matter what your race, no matter what country you were born, every single one of us have ancestors who were born in many, many, many years ago, when every single one of us knew how to work with the earth. No matter if you're white, Chinese, Spanish, whatever, any some of our ancestors at the beginning of the time, they knew how to connect with the earth. They knew how to honor. They knew how to pray in their own ways, in their own path. So you definitely did have ancestors who knew how to work with the earth. You definitely have ancestors who knew how to pray, who knew how to read. So highly recommended to you. Now I'm getting the Two of Pentacles, the Two of Wands, which is talking about your vision about where do you want to go in life, how you want to start a spiritual path. There is nothing wrong with being cultivated or being eager to learn another different tradition, another shamanic tradition around the world. It's beautiful. We just have to be mindful of how we do it and the respect that we show upon them, because I'm getting the Seven of Swords and I'm getting the Six of Swords, which is telling me that I don't know in which way this psychic told you the things that she was supposed to tell you, but there was a little bit of with the Seven of Swords. To me, this is always my card when there are people who are telling you things that are not necessarily true or they're hiding truth from you. So perhaps this person just say it in general. My recommendation will be, again, connect with the divine, whatever God is for you, Goddess, Buddha, Allah, whatever it is for you. Prayer and meditation is very important. It's not a cliche. You need to have, if you choose to do so, it is very important to have a connection to the divine, so you know who are your spiritual guides, who know who are your ancestors, who know who to guide you. Once we have that base and cover, if you choose to, and it takes time to build a relationship, you will know which culture you feel attracted. You will know, the books will start coming, the synchronicities will start coming. You might be invited by a friend to a cacao ceremony or something like that, or perhaps to learn something, to travel a specific country, But I feel like we should take it one step at a time, and always, always, always when approaching another cultures and style, do it with respect. It's okay to learn from them as long as they're open, but do it with respect and very mindful. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks so much, DoveLight. All right, great. Drea's next.
Yeah, what I have to say is along the lines of what DoveLight just shared, which this has also been my experience as well. So I also have had, and currently actually I'm experiencing something similar where this past life energy from a completely different culture is not the same as the avatar and of, you know, the culture that I come from now based on, you know, the body that I have chosen this lifetime. So it's it's good though that you decided to be open to it, because it is tricky to hear something like that or to feel something like that. So that just shows that you are already aware that you need to approach this with caution and with respect. With that being said, I can appreciate that, another practitioner told you this, but at the end of the day, listen to your intuition and your heart. What is your intuition telling you? Is this something that resonates with you? So are there certain aspects of certain cultures that you're really drawn to without, like DoveLight said, without the romanticization that's behind it? So just listen to your intuition, what you're feeling, and some of the things that you may be picking up on. You may be meeting people from these different cultures, or you may travel to places where these different cultures were predominantly living in your past life. Um, so that's going to be key for you. Just listen to your intuition, and like DoveLight said, just be respectful, but don't be afraid that because you have European ancestry in this lifetime, that it's something you have to stay away from, because that is something that is true to you, and it's manifesting itself in this present lifetime for you for a reason. It's a reason for it. So you're also going to have to figure out what that reason is for and learn what it is you need to do. And it is very much part of your journey this lifetime. So exploring this different culture and this different aspect of yourself in this lifetime is important for you, yes, to be a practitioner, but also for your growth as a being. And that's what I got. That's all I got.
That's great. Thank you. All right, Jenny's next.
What kind of struck me by this question, I'm going to speak less to exploring different cultures, but more just to this current line that you have going. So in this body, you have your ancestral lines that go out from your mother and father. And, you know, on and on. We can see how far that can go back. And if you're of the belief, like I am, that we have multiple lifetimes. So how many bodies have we had where we've also had different lines of ancestors? So we can see how this kind of multiplies. So at some point, you have likely had some kind of indigenous ancestral line and culture. But here's what I want to say the most. The you that you are right now is the sum total of all that you've ever been. And so you have access to all of that within you if you are interested and willing to open to what that is and call it in what is appropriate for you right now. The other thing that I was seeing as I was looking into this question and this energy is I'm seeing you walking along with only a pair of shorts and no shirt, but there's like this really rough rope that is tied around this huge log, like really big, just hanging around your neck. And you tried and tried and tried, But eventually this log just got too heavy and the rope was burning your neck and just really irritating your skin. And at some point I just saw that you're like, oh, this is too much. I'm going to put this down. And so I'm seeing a couple of things around that. And that has already been spoken to, this mantle of being the practitioners, a spiritual leader. There's a lot that comes with it. And so at some point you might have actually taken it off because it felt like too much. And so a lot of what's important, if you are going to step into this place, is develop your tools and your capacity and your energy to be able to tolerate all the energy and responsibility and all this stuff that's going to come as being part of that role. There's a lot of ways to do that, and you're the only one who's going to know the right ways for you. And so, like has already been said before, trust yourself. Like look and listen within yourself, your soul, your spirit, your heart, even your body. I would include that as well. What really resonates, and move in that way and build those skills so that you have the capacity to hold and become this you that you're already on the path of becoming. But that's the biggest thing I would say is, thank you. Don't just digest what somebody else tells you. You listen to yourself and you determine what actually feels right and what doesn't, and then go with what does feel right to you. Thank you so much.
Great, thanks, Jenny. I know I just texted the question. Matt, if any other practitioners want to see the question again, let me know. I can do that. Like Evangela, if you want to see it again. Yeah, I guess I can jump in and give a little bit of an answer. So I shared earlier a list of clairs that we use in our practice circles, and I can go grab this again. I'll put it in the chat right now. So these are examples of different ways that people open. So it's connected to the senses that we have as physical bodies. So sight, sound, touch, taste, smell, knowing. And these are all examples of ways that we can open more than others. In the way that I read people's eyes, I think that we often open the clairs that are more connected to the strengths that we have in our eyes, the pathway that our soul is on. I think of us all as being tendrils from source, in that way we're all connected. And so whatever pathway you're on, chances are that might be the way that you tend to open first. So I would encourage you to just look, are there ways that you've experienced being like psychic or having awareness already? So it can be as simple as having a sense that someone's behind you and looking at you, or you had ideas about things that after something happened, you're like, I knew that. Or, even just like smells, you get a smell of something that in some way you have a sense that something's going to happen. Like, so whatever is true for you, look and see how this has already happened in your life and go with the strength of what's already here. I believe that everyone's intuitive. Everyone has all these capacities. There are various ways we go through past lives, lessons in this life, lessons before we're born, like after we're born, have ways that we shut down, and then our journey really is to reopen and to reclaim our wholeness, like to own the pathway of our tendril and connect to source again. Know we are connected to source and as full as we're able. And so chances are you already have these capacities, and whatever you feel more drawn to, you feel like you already have strengths in, let yourself be in that more and more. Open to simply announce and to say, like, I'm willing to be aware. Like, I'm willing to pick up what's here. The more that you can physically say that, or just even if you say it inside you and you're open, things will show up. You'll start to see signs or think of things or whatever version it is for you. Your willingness, and then put yourself in places where you're more likely to have this happen. Put yourself around lots of people like this. So it's so great that you're at the panel tonight. Be in more and more of these places, have more of these conversations with people. If you have a sense of how some stuff's coming through, whatever feels easier for you with people you know, and it might not be people that you're too close to, people you know, or just totally new people, just say, I'm checking to see what I can pick up. Like, can I answer any questions? And so have people just ask you things and see what's there. So practice. So being in the space where it's safe, being around people that are also doing this, and practice. And so coming to a panel like this and seeing how would you answer the questions that people ask. These are all great ways to do this. We have a practice circle. We have a practice circle tomorrow night. tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. To 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, where we support people to practice in breakout rooms with each other, just like what I'm saying. So these are some examples of the way I would suggest. Yeah, you can take steps regardless of what your biological history is, your ancestors, etc. They may give you clues as to how you might open, and you can use all kinds of clues of being alive in this life too. All right. Who else has an answer? Maybe Matt and Angela. I can't remember if you shared yet. And
Yeah.
I'm in a cafe that's closing in 6 minutes, so I'm going to be sitting outside shortly, and hopefully it will still work. All right, keep going.
I was going to say, when you're starting on the path and you don't really know for sure what, if any, calling you have, but you're willing to explore, read as much as you can, about different paths, different beliefs, meet with different groups, go to different types of services, see what resonates, see what doesn't. You know, there are a lot of books out there that have different, very basic level psychic exercises and energy exercises and meditations that can help open you up and help you trigger off and let you see what you're good at, what you're not, but explore and have fun with it. Take it slow, obviously discernment in all things, and just explore, go out and just explore and try things and play with it, see what happens. As you do so, you're also sending a signal to the universe, okay, I'm ready, I'm willing. And then you will probably, excuse me, probably notice that you'll get more synchronicities and different things will be put in your way and brought to your attention, and just let it unfold. Don't try to force it, don't obsess over it. Just relax, enjoy it, have fun, and see where you end up.
I think I'll go from there. So reading your question, my thing would be more of less focus on the other cultures and all that kind of stuff from the standpoint of what this person's saying, because everybody's already kind of touched on that. And I haven't heard anybody say, like, you wrote that you have European lineage. I would tap into that as much as possible to know what, from a biological DNA standpoint, what countries, what cities are both sides of your family from. Tap into that, because there's a rich heritage. I'm actually curious if you have blue eyes for certain reasons. Just because when I hear that European, there's so many, I know a lot about that kind of those cultures, because Germany, Ukrainian, Moldovan, is kind of my ancestral stuff so just that Europe stuff. And I go to Europe all the time doing teachings and readings and all that kind of stuff. So first, start with your own culture, learn that, understand what resonates with you. And then what you'll actually discover, most likely, if you haven't already, is most of these other cultures have similar bits and pieces. That's why there's pyramids on every continent. That's why there's similar drawings in every continent, because most people have tapped into these things over the centuries and have similarities that may have originated here or there. But anyway, the point is, I would just really learn, like, what is your blood type, who are your ancestors, and just start there, and then start to go into the other things. That would be my opinion and perspective.
All right, great. Anything else? Any other practitioners want to share in answering this one?
Yes, we all are children of the mother. Just the fact that we're here in this planet at this moment, we are a gift from the ancestors. We're a gift from our lineage and a gift from our souls to be here. That's the most beautiful thing that we can acknowledge. One of the most beautiful things that we can acknowledge at this moment. It's the going to your spiritual life, going for the exploring, It's not necessarily only the clairs and how psychic, how medium. That's part of it. Some of us are born with it. Some of us develop it. All the gift comes from the divine. If we are gifted or we're allowed from one way or another to be of his service with these gifts, are from God, from the divine. They are not physical. There are non-physical gifts. So what I'm trying to say with this is, please, if it resonates with you, never ever forget that the most spiritual thing you can do is live your human life. Take care of yourself. Go for what you love. Make your own choices. Learn how to trust yourself. It might sound very cliche, it might very simple, but that is the reality. We humans make it so complicated. One of the most spiritual things you can do is love yourself. Be there for yourself. Have a connection to the divine. From that point of power, then things start coming to you. Your ancestry, the new course, perhaps a soulmate, things like that. They start coming. So this is why I feel like that's one of the key bases. I do past life regressions. I was dealing with my past life since I was a child and I didn't have any guidance to how to deal with it. But at the same time, I have to acknowledge that we all come from diversity in different countries, in different cultures, think differently. So if I go to, for example, to the Maya, they will think that I'm crazy if I start speaking about the past life regressions of reincarnation, because their concept is different. And the concept from reincarnation from the Mayas is different from the Buddhas. That's what I meant when I say to approach it with respect, because many of these cultures have passed through genocide, in order for them to be able to survive genocide, in order for them to be teaching these things. But that doesn't mean that because we are children of Mother Earth, we all have the right to do this earth-based practices. Like Matt was saying, many of these cultures, if not all of them, has the commonality of being in gratitude, of offer thanks, of pray together as oneness. So as many of us have already said, it is very important to have a foundation, to know your shadows, to know your light, to get to know yourself, for them to be present and start walking the spiritual path. We all are a spiritual path one way or another, to be here of service, to live our human life. We need good teachers. If you have a child, you want your child to be in a kindergarten or elementary school with a teacher who has a good heart, who is respectful, who is grateful. Or when you do your taxes or your business management, you want somebody who is present, who is there to be of service, you know? So being of service, being spiritual, not only means that we're gonna become the shamans of the readers of the tarot card, not necessarily. It's beautiful, we can complement, but we need good people in every single field. We need people who have the heart connected. And I wanted to honor that, because that's something that we need to understand, mostly in Western society, how a spiritual teacher, how a spiritual person looks like. And it's from the heart. It's not how many yoga pants you have or how much, I don't know, your diet or whatever. Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, anyone. Oh, yeah, okay. So they just say thank you. Thank you very much for your answers. All right, great. Yeah, if there's any other feedback, let us know. And yeah, I'll call that. Great, great. All right. Well, we've got time. We could take one more question if someone else has a question. It can be on anything. As you see, we've answered a range of questions this evening. It might have to do with our theme of being with the wild energies of this time, and it really could be on anything at all. I know some of you on the panel tonight, right? You're on one of our panels for the first time, so you're getting experience of what this is like. I feel grateful, right? Everyone's participating. It seems like having a good time, and seeing that you have insight to share. Okay? We're all just growing ourselves all the time, doing this kind of thing together. Great, yeah. So if anyone does want to ask a question, let us know. If you want to and you haven't paid yet, just let me know in the chat so I know it's coming, and then pay. And if you want, we'll bring you up on here on video. Yeah, and while we're waiting, as practitioners, if you have any question that you want to ask the panel, we can do that too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm now outside. So that's in the clouds. That's Mount Si over there in the background. It goes up higher. Mm. 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 I mean, if you have a question that you want to ask, if you have a general question, we can talk about a general question right now, or if you want to ask a question, yeah, like if you, I put the information right above too. If you want to ask a personal question, PayPal or Venmo are two easy ways to pay. And then, yeah, we'd love to take a question from you. Yeah, so you choose 20 to 28 or $12 for BIPOC folks, whatever's relevant. Oh, you just paid? Okay, great. All right. Do you want to come up on screen? It's up to you. If you want to come up here, I just need to have your video on and then I can spotlight you. Or oh yeah,
Hi.
someone else is just commenting something I
I,
said earlier. Oh yeah, great. Okay, let me bring you up. All right.
well,
Yay.
you know me. Yeah, I go. So at like the MeWe fairs, this isn't just people telling me this externally. I feel like I've also always kind of had like some sort of like affinity for like magical creatures and fairies and mermaids and sirens and nymphs and those kind of things. Um, and I don't know, I've been like kind of told that I have some of that kind of Fae energy. And since like the theme tonight is wild energies, um, just if you had any insights onto kind of my connection to like the more nature and kind of be embodying more of those energies and just practices that I might not be as aware of to like tap into those. I think I can kind of intuit how to embody more of that wild. I don't know. I guess it was just a curiosity I had.
Oh, you totally reminded me of something that I meant to share 2 questions back with the person that asked about like who's walking with them. And I mentioned that they had a lion. I was thinking it'd be really good for them to roar. And if they're not here still right now, they might not still be here right now. I will write to them. So yeah, so great. So you're asking for how to connect more with nature, with natural energies, with the wild parts of
No,
you,
I
or
think,
what are you?
well, just if you kind of saw specifically like the types of fairies or imps or I don't know that you see me kind of having in this lifetime or I don't know, connections to in past lives and if there's any like kind of not as obvious ways to like kind of embody, I think I can understand like walking into the woods barefoot and doing things like that. But if there's anything that's a step beyond that, I guess, for connecting with my wild energy, like kind of sort of it's a two-part thing, like kind of what do you see me having connections to? And then how do I connect more consciously with those energies?
Okay, great. Okay, great. Yes, people are tapping in to see what's here. Well, so just as people are checking in, I'll say, just as with that person, I had the idea, and I see DoveLight's getting ready. I'll just say like roaring come through. Part of what I'm energetically, what I connect to are seals and some other sea creatures. So I'm seeing sea creatures that play and slip through things. And so that's part of what's coming up for me. And so let's go to DoveLight and then I'll say more about that. DoveLight.
Thank you so much for your question. You really have a beautiful light around you. So definitely you have a strong connection to the divine as well in your own way. I feel like they're telling me to tell you to please balance your life, consciously. I don't think it's a problem, but they're asking me to please balance the energy around your life, around the different areas of your life for some reason. They're also telling me that I'm not saying that you make a mistake or something in the past, but there was a situation where you feel that perhaps you felt like you should have chosen differently. So always keep the wisdom that you learn from the past. Okay, it's gonna guide you in the future. The second thing that they're telling me is that to tell you what is a sign. A sign can be anything, literally anything, or can be nothing. How do we know a sign is for you? It's because if you choose to consciously ask the divine, ask the universe, you're going to feel it within. A person can see a white butterfly, it's just a butterfly. A person can see a white butterfly, that's my mom who passed away. That's my ancestor who passed away. no matter what I tell you, it's not gonna be the same as you connected to your connection. They're telling me, well, I can tell you, oh, I see a fairy, I see a dwarf, I see a tree, I feel hungry. It is good. We can pick that up. But what they're asking me for most to focus you on your belief, your connection. I highly believe you came from a lineage, if it's not in this planet, in another one, when this was real for you. They're also telling me that there might be the possibility that when you were a child, you used to dream with these things very lively. And there is a high possibility that there was like a shaman in your past ancestry that she could like visualize different alternatives to heal people. You know how people visualize somebody being healed? They have the gift to see, and they bring the energy to the present moment, something like that. So what
Sorry,
am I you do?
could you repeat one of those things you had said before? I didn't quite hear you, the first part. I'm sorry.
The first part that I say, it's the science, about science.
Oh no, not that. You said as a child I had seen. That is true, and I still do have those dreams.
Oh my God! Thank you for confirming.
But I just thought you had the sea creatures. Laureli was spot on. I'm like always dreaming of like flying over.
They don't want
like dolphins and whales and.
Okay. In my case, no, Dove. No, everybody else can pick up stuff for you. They're very gifted. In my case, they are telling me to don't tell you a specific thing because they want you to start trusting that you already know which ones they are. Because people can tell you many things, but if you choose to connect with them and believe in yourself, that's going to be different, because now you know from your heart. The sea creatures mean something for me. Anything means something for you. So when you start dreaming about them, you can interact more lucid. So when you see a truck passing by and you see the sea creature, or you pass to Starbucks and you never notice the mermaid, but now you feel like the mermaid is a sea creature because you feel it in your heart. That's when you, from your heart, from Karadis, start building your connection and your trust. We have to have trust and faith in our connection. But how are we going to have a connection if we don't want willing to trust the connection, to ask and respond? You are very gifted. You're a very nurturing person. You definitely have a lot of communications through dream and your imagination. You know what is shamanic journeys? People think that it's only your imagination, but imagination is the language of the soul. What I'm going to tell you, because you do have the ability to access these dimensions through your imagination. There is definitely a lot of gifts, spiritual gifts that you have the potential to develop. But again, it is very important to balance your life. It is very important for you to learn from the past. I think it might be related to trusting your own intuition, to trusting your own way to do things. But once again, you do have the ability to connect with these dimensions. You do have the ability to imagine them and make information pass through them for you to guide, but information that makes sense or will guide you, So my recommendation will be, if you haven't done so, to start having a journal, of a dream journal, to having a sign journal, to start talking and speaking, if you haven't done so already, to prayer. But you will have to believe that when the synchronicities and the things start coming, it's because you are choosing to listen as well. Again, a sea creature might pass in a truck, or somebody's tattooing. For me, it's nothing, I don't see anything. But for you, might be like, oh my God, they're trying to tell me something. And eventually, as you build your connection, as you start learning the synchronicities, you're going to have your own dictionary, your own diary. For example, for me, the turtle means community. For somebody else, might mean something different. So I'm not going to Google what turtles mean spiritually, because that's the general. But what the divine, my ancestors from spirit guide, is telling me about turtles might be unique for me. This is the same working for you. I highly know that you are a very spiritual person. Just feel like if you choose to do so, trust your divine guidance. It's like you have all this potential spiritually. You do have it. I can sense it. It just needs to be in like a tree, more structured, more grounded, not rigid, or like it just needs to. They're telling me, thank you. They're telling me that a good medium, thank you, to channel it. Like, could be painting, could be dancing, could be journaling, could be the diary. But that's what I'm picking up for you. So if you came to confirm that you do have communication with this spirit, definitely yes. If I can tell you which ones exactly, the ones that you have dreamed with as a child, they're still working with you. They also recommend you, if you haven't done so already, to go to nature, to do meditations by the trees, just connect with the spirits of the tree. They're asking me also, if you choose to do so, put your hand on the tree and send the images with the feeling of saying hi. just like if you were in your dream, like you're going to receive the feedback. It's not going to be like in perfect English, no, but it's going to be in a feeling, in an emotional communication. You do have the potential, but you have to trust it. No matter how many times I tell you, you have to believe it. Okay.
Thank you.
One
Thank you.
more
I've been learning that more and more. Yeah.
One more thing, they're asking me if you choose to do so, you can bring honey or sweets to the forest in nature as an offering. They will be very happy. Don't panic if they follow you home, but they will go back to the forest. These are actually good one spirits. There is a very kind of, but this one is good one. Specifically for the deities, for the healing forces of nature. Bring honey, bring sweets, saying, hey, with love and respect to the spirit of the forest, to the spirit of this park. I'm giving you these offerings as a kind of form of communication and relation. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, DoveLight. And I just put all the practitioners' information in the chat too, again. So, and practitioners will reintroduce themselves at the end as well. All right, Drea is next.
Yeah, so I picked up on a lot of the same things DoveLight picked up on. And the 3 words that I got was, you ready? Trust your intuition. That for you is the key. Trust your intuition. Also, grounding yourself just a little bit to where your energy isn't so scattered and you can better get the messages. So grounding yourself, your intuition is going to be increased and you're going to trust it more, and you're going to start to, really open up to those gifts that you have. What gifts you have exactly, I don't know. I haven't picked up on that, but trusting that intuition, grounding yourself with different exercises, and it doesn't have to be anything specific. Whatever you decide to do to open up your intuition and to also ground yourself, it is super important that it resonates with you, simply because of how your energy is and the way that you know put that energy out into the world. It is unique, that is for sure. And it's very strong, but it's also very beautiful. It's not overpowering, and it definitely doesn't come from your ego. It very much comes from who you are as a being, which is very, very light, very beautiful, very joyful, and happy. So people around you will pick up on that energy. And those who, if you come across someone who doesn't really like you, or there's like tension or something, it is because you are operating at frequencies and a level of consciousness they're not ready to be around. It's too much for them. Your light, your energy, all of that is just too much, and they can't handle it. So don't take that personal. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with them.
Thank you. I was really resonating with your reading of Diana. Diana, yeah, it's been something I've been experiencing and learning to accept more and more.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's exactly like that. People who are meant to be in your life, whether for a season or until the end of it, they're meant to be there. Those who aren't meant to be in your life will quickly go away. So no one not liking you, or you also not liking someone, pay attention to that, because I can tell you it will save you it will save you so much heartache and headache and trouble in the long run. So like DoveLight said, trust that intuition and ground your energy. And the best way for you to ground your energy is to be out in nature, however long you can, whenever you can, and do things that resonate specifically to you. yes, you can read books and watch YouTube and all these things, but at the end of the day, what is speaking to you, and follow that.
And I think that's the message, the overall message. If I were to sum up everything that I've heard, all the self-help videos, all the practitioners, it's
Yes.
just kind of following your intuition. And I think everybody has their own interpretations. And I don't think any of us as humans really 100% know, but just finding things that resonate and trusting. So I think that's like the takeaway from everything. But I just feel like we always say you have to hear things 1,000 times before you really integrate it. So I just thought, why not, since y'all are here?
Yeah. And being where you are now, now that I'm on the other side as a practitioner, I can tell you, it is fantastic to have confirmation. And sometimes you do need it from multiple sources before you believe it. You're like, I kind of thought that, but I've already had 2 people tell me. Before I started this, I had like 4 people tell me, you're a healer, Drea, you're a healer. And I'm just like, if you say so, I don't think so. But, just trust it. And if you keep hearing it, that right there is a sign and a synchronicity. So,
Exactly.
definitely, again, don't be afraid to believe in yourself, your gifts, and keep being the beautiful person that you are, because you really do have fantastic energy. I love it. And that's all I got. I'll turn it over to
Thank
someone
you,
else.
Drew. I don't know how to do the heart emoji, so thank you.
That's it.
That's great. Thank you. All right. Who else wants to share with Kara? Jenny, go ahead.
I'm old school. I just raised my hand. Anyhow, I love your question, and this is kind of how I see things. And so you listen to yourself and see what feels right about this. For me, all of these other mystical beings that you're talking about, they all exist, but kind of in a different dimension that is also where our dimension sits. So they're all there, and you have awareness of them. When I look more specifically, I'm seeing like this fabric, and you know how fabric is kind of woven this way and that way. And this fabric for you needs to be kind of thicker and heavier. And that has some kind of reinforced like sewn lines in it. And the reason why I'm seeing that is because it's so easy for you to just follow one of those threads to one of those other dimensions and get access to all this stuff, right? But when that happens, your energy does kind of expand to the point where it's really hard to be focused in your body. And so that's where that kind of thicker fabric comes for you. And that's kind of how I am seeing other people saying, you got to ground your energy. And that's really just to help you have a focal point. Because if you're scattered, it's hard to do a lot with all of your energy. But when you bring it all together and you're the focal point for all that energy, so you're here and you're seeing the thread that goes to the other place, the other dimension, you still can have access to it right here in present time in this body. And the other beautiful thing that I'm seeing about what others are sharing about you being in nature, because it's so easy for your energy to move out in all these different directions, especially our technology and stuff really kind of adds to that. When you're in nature, it really helps you come right back down, and it's got kind of this slower or just a different vibration that really helps you come really in. And then more and more for you, I see it's more practicing having your energy all in one place and not having it be something that's limiting you, but that you have access to all dimensions within your own space without having to go to the other dimension to access the thing, if that's helpful. Yeah.
Oh, I realized I wasn't muted. Sorry.
It's great. It's great to hear you laugh.
But it makes a lot of sense. I like your blanket analogy. Because I feel like I know like the thing about go into nature and do this and that. And I feel like I just need that reminder. Sometimes I just mess up my sleep schedule and just not feel like it, even though I kind of know I should. But I think I'm getting better. I am getting better at making that more of a daily practice, even if it's just the garden or the lawn. So it's kind of like a boundary. I interpret it not like a boundary, like it's closing me off to other realms, but just saying you don't have to visit the other realms to like access and understand them.
Great. Great. I'm just going to jump in and say briefly what I shared earlier about the sea creatures. So there's like a movement and a play that they do, and I feel like you could like go in some warm water. I don't know where you are, but like there are, warm pools, like warm saltwater pools, and like just get in the water and let yourself play with these kinds of movements and twisting and flying. And then when you go to sleep too, you could play with letting yourself be one of these, right? So you want to dream as one and let yourself see what happens as you dream. And the other animal that came up is a ferret. So ferrets also swim. So on land and swimming and I just feel like it's the elongated and the quick movements and playful movements is what I'm picking up in your energy. And so like I imagine too is in terms of your capacities in these gifts, it just feels like you go and you go somewhere in terms of where like insight or feeling in deep through something. And so just symbolic of like that movement and that pattern and flow is symbolic of like what your gifts are too. So letting
What
yourself
about
really be
dolphins?
in that shape. Yeah, sure. Like all those kinds of things. Yeah. You listed off a bunch of other ones. Seal was the first one that occurred to me. Yeah, otter. Someone says otter. Exactly. Otter. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Very much. Yeah. It's great. So you get the feeling in general of the animals that I sense. All right, great. Who else wants to share? Someone else
Can I ask
listening.
one more question? I'm sorry, related to that.
Go ahead, jump in, Jan.
I love starfish so much.
Mm.
I tried to like look up like what that means. They say like regeneration and balance, and that makes sense to me, but I don't know if anyone has any
It's just
more
such a different
insight into
energy to
that.
me than like the one that I described. It's like there's the radial energy, and it seems like a part of you that's more meditative and present and patient. And oh, then DoveLight had. Did you see what DoveLight has?
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Yeah, DoveLight, go ahead, jump in. I just want to present to everyone. We're getting towards the end. Go ahead.
If somebody will ask you what is this starfish means for you, what would you say?
What kind of say in a way it's like kind of heaven on earth almost, like it because it looks like a star or how we see stars or how we represent stars in the heavens, but it's right here in our waters. Yeah, and what I know about ecology is like they're keystone species. They keep things in check. They keep the whole ecosystem in balance. They can regrow. I think they're also like just beautiful. I love the colors and the way that they kind of also are adaptable to like being under the sea and being on land at different points. And they just kind of also just, I don't know, I guess like people like study tidewater ecosystems a lot. So it's kind of a reminder that we're all connected and yeah, they regenerate if if they lose a limb. But yeah, they also collapsed, almost died out 10 years ago, but they came back. A lot of them are coming back. So that shows like a lot of resilience of this.
All that information that you're channeling right now, you can apply it to your life. This is how you know that you can receive direct. Everything that you say, it can be applied for an aspect of your life right now. It's so beautiful. Yes, that's what I'm feeling. Like you are a star seed. You are a star person. You're a star being. That's why you have your connection to the divine. That's why you're able to sense the energy natures. This is why you are so precious for us to be here in this planet at this moment. So always don't forget that. Don't forget your resilience. They also remember in the first tarot card I told you about balance in your life. Again, they're talking about balance because they have to balance all their patitas, all their legs. They have to balance it. So you see, just by touching an object that it's meaningful for you, stars. There's no coincidence that I have it right literally next to me when you're talking about it, because they wanted to show you again that you can channel your message personal for you, and whatever you're saying, you apply it in your life. Like for example, with my reading, I felt like they were reminding you there needs to be some balance in your life. Now, they show you starfish through Kiro to anywhere. Now you know that they're telling you it will be a recommendation if you see where you need more balance, or everything else that you say, you know. I love this. To me, this is my personal symbol as well, that we are starseeds on Earth. We carry the beautiful energies, but we are on Earth. We have to be realistic as well, as much as intuitive, you know. And it's beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm gonna book you for a reading now. I might. Okay.
Yeah, let's talk.
That's great. All right. Yeah, anyone else want to share? Go ahead, Matt.
So I have a bunch of things, but I thought the starfish was really interesting because as soon as you started describing what a starfish is, I was like, yeah, this is all true about you. But sometimes a starfish is just like a pretty thing that people look at and they don't pay enough attention to. And so, like, that's not you. I would say, like, create your own species, be a shark starfish. So, just like, here's the thing, like, this is what I was getting for you is you are literally like an explosion. You're a fireworks show. You're beautiful, you're intelligent, you're fun, you're totally open. I think hiking is a really important thing because I could see you going hiking with somebody and literally talking the entire time and having like an exchange going back and forth. I think like probably the most important thing for you is to get a mentor or a coach who can like move into the specific things that you're trying to learn, because I think synchronicity is very easy for you. It's signs, symbols, numbers, all that kind of stuff. And I always say like that's great, but I'm like a results oriented person. I want to see the manifestation that comes beyond synchronicity, because too many people just go, oh, there, I saw a 777. Oh, there was a bus. It had a pyramid. We were just talking about pyramids. That's amazing. But that's like that's like the first level. It's like, okay, now what can we actually manifest out of this synchronicity? And I think that's the thing that you need to go for. You're a claircognizant. It's very clear. Which, you know, when you ask the question about what do you guys see around me? For those of us who are seers, I think that's really easy. The part for you though is you're just gonna have to trust like that that this is what's around you, because like there's a few of us that see clearly that could say, oh, I see this, I see this, I see this, and then you go, oh yay, and you tell somebody else, but it doesn't really help you. And so it's really the thing of you speaking to them directly, you know, doing the things that other people shared, just to honor who's around you, and just kind of having fun with it, and go swim with the dolphins, go have a conversation with a fairy. Like I have a friend years ago that I was mentoring, and she was having the fairies were coming in and out of her car, and she's going, help. What do I do with them? I was like, oh, where are they going? They're just going into the woods, and then they get into my car when I go to work. And I was like, well, they obviously want to work with you, just, you know, but she was literally seeing them with her eyes open. And that's the part where you don't like, it sounds really cool, woo woo, right? But it's like the thing of you don't have to see it to believe it, because you're
Yeah.
claircognizant.
Yeah.
Kind of like one negative thing I saw is like there's some male energy stuff, and maybe dad issues, culture. I don't exactly know. I'm not going to get into all that, but I'll just say like that's something that I think still needs to be dealt with. And then the final thing is you mentioned you have dreams, but I think even tonight or in the next few nights you'll have some profound dreams, just because here we are in a spiritual community, we're talking about these things, and so it opens it up for people, and many times just activates things for people when you have these kind of conversations. And I think probably one of the things that will be profound, not just for you but for other people, is learning how to really do dream interpretation. And I think that's the part where, like, I can't see what you'll do for work or how you're kind of do that, but I feel like the education you got for like a job and stuff like that will provide what you need, and then you can kind of do dream interpretation and other things kind of on the side for fun and all that kind of stuff. But I think the main piece is like dream interpretation, not just for yourself but for other people. And I think many times you'll actually do a better job at interpreting other people's dreams than you'll even will yourself.
So it's more detached from yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of, if we have a little bit of time, I can just kind of sum up. I feel like I'm always flying over like maps and landscapes and buildings and communities or I'm in these wild kind of buildings with airports and books and kind of school-like, but just amazing with like elevators and escalators, and or if you like watch like a Studio Ghibli movie or somewhere, you're like, oh my God, these are like my dreams. These people get it. Just kind of nonsensical, you know, but still sort of rooted in this reality on some level. I feel like I'm often like just kind of flying, and it kind of feels weird to fly because I'm like people can see me, right? Who are like on the street, but yeah, anyway, I'm also kind of like in floods a lot, I feel like, but I'm always like, okay, I'm just like, I'm just gonna hold on to this and it's like fine. I'm not like too worried about it. And I think I
So, you
have
know,
my own idea. I have my own ideas of what those things mean, but and sea creatures too, like jumping in and out of water.
I want to say too, air
Always
is a
a big deal.
fluid, right? So water is a fluid and air is also a fluid.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very fluidy. So anyway, I think I can trust myself on what those mean, but I always just like the confirmation.
So I guess it's let yourself deepen, yeah, in these different things that you know, like let yourself take more steps with them. Like,
Just
hey,
there's so
yeah,
many
I embody this.
directions. Sorry.
Well, in the starfish, right? So starfish goes in all these directions too. And at the same time, only so many, right? So maybe like five
Pick
at a
five.
time. Yeah, five at a time. Yeah. Practitioners, anything else you want to share?
One thing that I also want to suggest for you is try and keep a pen or pencil along with a notebook next to your bed so that you can write down some of these dreams that you have. As soon as you have a dream, as soon as you wake up, write it down. And Lorelei said, draw them. That can work as well. But go back to it a few days later, like 1, 2 days later, 3 days later, so that way you can kind of suss out and figure out possibly what it might be indicating. And I know Matt mentioned you being able to interpret dreams for others. So that was probably what it was I was picking up on a little bit when I said that you do have gifts. So you might actually um, you might actually come up with some way of doing dream interpretation. And that's absolutely a possibility for you. So having that dream journal, whether you write it or you decide to draw it or whatever, that will help you develop that skill and possibly even develop your own way of doing dream interpretation. And that's something that you could probably take as far as talking about it, teaching about it, writing books about it. So that's something that'll be very helpful for you to do.
Thank you.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for jumping in and asking a question. Lovely and great fun playing with you. So
Always,
yeah,
always.
let's play.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, thank you everyone so much for being here tonight. We're going to have our practitioners go through and introduce themselves again briefly. I'll put their information in the chat again. They all have, well, I think maybe everyone here, or almost everyone here has specials. So please make use of their specials. Practitioners, feel free to say what your specials are, so it's on the recording if you want to do that, and your websites and all that stuff. So maybe we'll go in the similar order as before. So DoveLight, if you're ready, you could go first. So I think, what are we saying? DoveLight, and then Angela, and then Matt and Jenny and Drea.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching the replay. My name is DoveLight from DoveLightOracle.com. You can also find me on Instagram at DoveLightOracle. And I'm just grateful to be here, honestly. I love these topics. I love these feelings to be together in spirituality. I love learning from each other. I love to the creator, to the divine, to all the energies and ancestral healing that's happening when we acknowledge this gift. And thank you to all who guide us in this side and in the other side. Yes, I do intuitive readings, are soul tarot soul readings, because sometimes it's not just your regular tarot. So might take an ancestor, a mediumship, or something from the past, or inner child. That many things happen in the tarot readings that it's very it might not be what you want to hear, but it's what you needed to hear. If it resonates for you, you're welcome. You know where to find me. I'm going to possibly have an event next Thursday about with indigenous elders from Peru, when they're actually going to do a Haiguariqui despacho online. It's private, and if you do sign up for that, you can have a free mini reading with me, and I'll leave the link in the chat. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Great. Thank you so much, DoveLight. It's been great having you here. Right, Angela.
Hello, everyone. It's been fun chatting with y'all tonight. You can find me at Strength from Darkness Shamanic Energy Healing. I am offering the right of the womb to cleanse out all that toxic negativity that we hold in that second chakra. Excuse me, second chakra. On special for $50 if you sign up by the end of the month. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out through my email. It's listed in the chat and on my website. Have a good night.
Thank you so much, Angela.
Hey,
All
I'm
right,
Matt. I'm the Newcastle Oracle. You can find me newcastleoracle.com. Today, if you sign up in the next 24 hours, I'm happy to do a reading, $30 for 20 minutes. That's about 60% off. I also have a class starting September 18th. It's 4 weeks. It's $222. I'll give you half off if you sign up today. If you're a practitioner and you want to join the class, talk to me. We'll arrange something special. We'll make some kind of trade. And basically the class is the fifth dimension, living outside of space and time. And we'll be covering how the fifth dimension works, what it is, how to actually go from synchronicity to manifestation, and then also remote viewing. And people call these things many different things, but the bottom line is you'll understand from a scientific perspective how these things work. And then we'll also do activations that will help you to practice these things, and then you'll be able to do them on your own. So yeah, come join. Let me know, and you can email me at newcastleoracle@gmail.com or find me on Facebook and send me a DM.
Great. Thanks so much, Matt. Great having you join one of our panels. And next we have Jenny.
Hi, I'm Jenny. As you know, I'm an intuitive. I do readings, energy work, but I do a whole lot more than that. For the special today, my readings for 1 hour are $222 normally, but I'm offering a 50% off, so it'd be $111 for a 1 hour reading. My readings are really dynamic. I'm always asking you, how's that landing? And let's integrate, because I really want you to access yourself and your tools, and I'll take you through guided meditations or whatever arise during that time. I do also have a 3-month program about integrating your soul truth. And so in that, there would be a lot of integration that includes the reading, energy work, kind of more of that coaching stuff, but also the somatic and the body access as well. And again, just trying to give you as many tools as you can so you can be all of who you are, your amazing self in your body right now. If you're interested in any of that, please email me at jenny@jennystclair.com. It's also in the chat, and I would love to work with you. Thanks for having me today. It's been a lot of fun.
Great. Thanks so much, Jenny. And maybe could you spell out your website for people that watch you on the video to make sure they can find you?
Yeah. So my website is jennystclair.com, and it's spelled Jenny, Jenny, first part, St. Clair, which is STCLAIRE.com. And I would love to have you.
Great. Thanks so much. Andrea.
Hi again, my name is Drea. I am offering intuitive reading and healing, and as a special introductory offer from me as a new practitioner, I'm offering that $1 a minute. If you want to schedule that with me, then reach me at the phone number listed or the minister Drea at gmail.com, and we can get that worked out on the best time and day for you. And I also, to close the reading, Laureli, I did a quick little pull, one card tarot from my steampunk tarot deck, and it actually kind of fits in with the theme. And the card that came out was the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords is a card that signifies completion of difficult or unpleasant circumstances. So that, I believe, is a very good indication that the difficult things that we've been experiencing and seeing it's coming to an end. So we still should, keep doing the things that we're doing, but things are for sure going to get better. The unpleasantness is on its way out, and better things to come for us as individuals and collectively as a species and being on this planet are coming. So the best is ahead of us. So I hope everyone can appreciate that and takes that with them as we close this tonight. And thank you for your time and for being here.
Great. Thanks so much, Drea. And thanks, Jenny and Drea, for jumping into the MeWe events for the first time. And then I'm Laureli Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader, body psychology coach, and matchmaker. I read your eyes, read your soul, and answer questions about your path. I also love to use this for matchmaking to help you find a soulmate. You can find out more about me at intuitiveeyereading.com or matchmakingsoulmates.com. And I just threw in a special for tonight. If you're in the audience and you're considering having a booth at one of our in-person fairs in Washington or Oregon, or a booth at one of our online fairs, if you reach out the next 48 hours, you can have that booth for 50% off. So yeah, if you're in the audience, take advantage of that. If you're just leaning to maybe you want to step in, if you're ready. All right. And it can be anytime for the rest of this year. So great. All right. Well, so thank you everyone so much for being here. Let me get in the chat again to get on our newsletter or to find more of our events and to find where this video is going to be posted. There's our YouTube channel. If there's a panel theme that you'd like to hear, please let us know. We will look at getting that into the schedule. I'm excited to getting our panels going again here that it's fall. Thank you so much for being here, everyone, for being our audience, for asking questions. And panel, thank you so much for being the panel. It was great to be together, everyone. And you can find out more about all of our events at mewefairs.com.